How many surgeries do you think it's been?
Well, I think it's 8. It may be 7, but I think it's 8.
That you've had already, or this will be your 8th one?
I think this is my 8th.
Okay.
So how do you feel this morning?
I feel fine. Ready to do it. Not ready for all the needles. They plug in needles all over the place. Not the favorite part. That is, Chad took the van. He's working without me. Nicole came over, got our baby. Very thankful for everybody.
All the help that goes into making this happen.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, Mommy.
Bye, Michael.
See you a little later. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I first heard about hypertrophic cardiomyopathy when I was 16 years old. I had gone in for a routine physical for high school sports. They found a heart murmur, which is basically just an irregular sound in my heartbeat, and determined that I had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. When I first heard I had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, I guess it set in pretty quickly that it was going to change my life, at least a little bit. They told me that I could no longer play, or I could no longer do cross country in high school because I was at risk for sudden cardiac arrest. When you have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, it really means that the septum in your heart, the vertical wall that separates the left and right side, is thicker than it should be. One of the arrhythmias that you can get from it is atrial fibrillation, which I have, or at least we think I have, which caused my 2 strokes. You can also have V tachycardia, which is deadly.
So this all started when you had your strokes.
Mm-hmm.
And you were 30 years old?
I was 30 and I had my first stroke in April of 2012. My second one was January of 2013, right before my birthday. When I was in the hospital for the first stroke, they saw something on my heart monitor and said that you have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. We also saw something that looked like VTech, so we recommend that you get a defibrillator.
Okay.
And they put it in at that point, probably within a month or so of my first stroke. A defibrillator was never anything I ever wanted. It was something more that was strongly suggested that I have. And I feel that over the years, I simply went along with it because it was in my best interest, I believe. And then after that, I don't remember the timeline, but I think I had 2 wound revisions. Essentially, the cut that they made to put the device in wasn't healing. And I know that it wouldn't heal back together, and so I went under general anesthesia again to try to fix it. And then I think that didn't work again. So then they tried a second time to fix it. And I believe that didn't work either. So then I had a fourth procedure to then put it underneath my muscle. And I think that all of those procedures were within the first few months, I think.
Yeah, so it was all
2012.
2013. So you had another stroke and 3 more surgeries, all kind of together.
Yeah.
Gosh. That was not a fun time. I honestly can't even remember having any discussions with Michael's doctors about him getting the initial defibrillator. I think for me, it just seemed like an absolute no-brainer. I am sure at the time I felt like, wow, this seems like such a great thing. Michael's going to be okay. Let's get it done. Of course, if we had any idea of what these last 10 years were going to hold, we wouldn't have chosen it.
The defibrillator was good for 6 or 7 years until I think it was 2019 when we were rebuilding the house. The suture on the defibrillator broke, and so the device fell in my chest, like I think 4 inches, and it was down.
That's when it looked like really black and blue, and kind of you could see the outline of it like pushing out in the bottom.
Yeah, it was trying to push to my skin. So they took that pretty seriously, and they decided to take it out and put it back up, and everything looked fine. But after the procedure, they ran tests on all the fluids in my body, and they found that I had an E. coli infection.
And the doctor's recommendation at that point was, we're going to remove it, put you on antibiotics while you wear this defibrillator vest that will be there to shock you externally if something happens. And then like 6 months later, we'll put in a brand new device of the same type, but on the other side of your chest, and screw it back into your heart.
What happens is that there's the 2 wires that also go down into your heart, and they go through your vascular system inside your heart, and they get screwed into the heart.
Yeah.
And they have to, when they remove those, they somehow get lasers inside your heart that cut the tissue out, that allow them to unscrew the leads or wires that are connected inside your heart. And apparently that gets more difficult every year that they're embedded.
And that's the time when there's a small chance something could go seriously wrong.
Yeah, that one was pretty concerning.
Yeah.
When we took out my first device and we're thinking about putting a brand new one in, we talked about whether or not we wanted this at all. Given that it had never treated me medically, it seemed like there was no point to having it. But I also understood that maybe my chances will go up as I get older, so let's keep on trying to make this work. The one up here was a pacemaker defibrillator. And then once we got it out, we realized that I actually didn't need a pacemaker. And so this other one was a great solution because it was defibrillator only, which was what I really actually needed.
I think I remember at the time feeling like, oh, this is a win. It's not going to be screwed into your heart. The wires don't need to go into your heart, which could lead to infections. This is a new kind of device that wasn't available when you got the first one implanted.
The wire is easy to remove. It's not screwed in. Yeah.
And it's in a totally different place, so we can get away from where you've already had 6 surgeries. This might be the thing that finally works for you. So you got that implanted in 2020.
But it only lasted about 7-8 months before the seroma developed.
What would you call that? I feel like it's like now half of a cantaloupe.
A small one. It's definitely bigger than a softball for sure.
Half of a large grapefruit.
It's about 6 inches in diameter. That's pretty big.
That is pretty big.
Yeah, 6 inches in diameter. And
sticks out probably 2.5 inches. 2.5, 3 inches. It's got to be 3. It's very large.
Do you think we should weigh you before surgery and weigh you after surgery?
No, fluids will mess. I'm sure it's at least like a pound.
Yeah, it really is like putting some weight on you there.
Yeah.
When this last incident happened with the seroma, I've been thinking for several years that I don't really want this anymore, but this was kind of the last straw where there wasn't much question in my mind whether or not I should keep this or not.
So now, 7 months later, living with a seroma, we're finally ready to just take it out.
Yeah. Kind of what we had hoped was going to be the answer, and finally the easy thing that was going to work.
Just didn't work out again.
Failed like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Michael started talking about being done, my thought was just immediately like, well, what else can we try? What else can we do? Maybe it's worth a small another surgery, a little something else.
Not having a defibrillator doesn't really affect me at all. It might affect me a bit psychologically, I think, when I'm exercising or doing strenuous activity. It's going to make me a bit nervous. But having no device really just affects my family. Leaving Maria or the kids at some point unexpectedly would be... It's not really devastating to me because I won't be here, but it'd be devastating for them.
Coming to the conclusion that it was time to be done with surgery, with fixing things, with trying new devices, was ultimately a really easy decision. It was clear what we needed to do, but it was a really hard one, at least for me. As Michael's wife, there was the part of me that always wanted what was best for him and to see him be healthy and thrive and be able to live the life he wanted, and knowing that he wanted to have a long, good life with us. And then there was that part of me, that scared or selfish voice that was always there, that always felt like, I can't do this without you. I don't want to do this without you. I have to give up that knowing and become comfortable with some of the fear that'll always be there.
The fact that Maria is very supportive of having the device removed means everything, because it is my decision because it's my body, but in some ways it's just as equally her decision because she has to deal with the ramifications of potentially losing me.
I know there will always be some small part of me that will be planning for the worst possible outcome for our family. A little part of me that will always be hopefully practical more than fearful in that way. But just knowing that that is more of a possibility for Michael and for us than probably the average family. And so I need to think about it a little bit.
The last 10 years have been really good. We've had a great time. We've done a lot of things. It's been great. But definitely marred by the fact that I have this device in me. It definitely is put a damper on things. I'm really looking forward to just simply not having it.
So that takes us to this Tuesday. And this is going to be your, hopefully, final surgery.
Yeah.
Michael's surgery is tomorrow morning, and I am feeling both very excited and nervous about what's ahead. But I think I'm feeling more excited than nervous, because ultimately this thing has been a huge weight on the side of its body, but also just a big weight on our family life together. And I'm excited for it to be done.
Definitely hurts.
The device removal, very easy. Came right out. I feel like they do it on the sly. They put you under on the sly without telling you what's happening. Everyone who comes by and like looks at it, they're like, oh. And they're like, does that hurt? And you get people in the background just kind of like looking across the room at it, like, yeah. The lady who took me over to the OR, she's like, oh, did you know you're famous? Like, oh, she's like, yeah, everyone wants to see this.
Not the kind of famous we want.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. She's like, I'm the lucky one. I got to be in the room with you.
It's been maybe 2 months since I had my surgery. The surgery went just as planned. They fixed me up and put me back together, and the lump is gone, and I'm feeling like I have my body back. The lump used to be right here, but now it's gone, and it's nice that I actually don't have any device anymore, which I haven't had in 10 years, and I'm feeling great about that. Here's my AED machine in case I fall over with cardiac arrest. Maria can save me. Here's my camera, so Maria can watch me while I work out in case I have any problems. And I started wearing my bike helmet for my indoor exercises in case I fall over. I don't want to also have a head injury. It's going just fine.